This is Stacy Marshall with Printwear Magazine.
Matt Vassallo with the RhinestoneWorld.com.
Richard Greaves with ScreenMaking.com.
Brian Walker with RTP Apparel.
This is Peter Walsh with M&R, and you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Podcast hosted by
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
And
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Keep on listening.
I don't know if these guys are that regular.
A great way to start the year. So, welcome to the show. It is Friday, January 7th, 2022. First time I've said that. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. Terry, today is our annual show. Like you said, Happy New Year to everybody. And we do this at the start of almost every year. And 10 things that Terry and I would like to see in the coming years. Kind of, I don't know if it's crystal ball necessarily, Terry, but more maybe wishes, hopes, dreams, some things like that. You know, just kind of saying, hey, this is what we thought of, things in the past. And here's some things that we'd love to see happen. And some things are things where we're maybe calling out ourselves. Let's do more of that. Some things are maybe a little bit more calling out other folks. Say, hey, let's step up in these areas. So
yeah, and little feet to the fire. We will, as always, review our 10 things from last year and see if they actually transpired.
Yeah, see how they did. So looking forward to getting into that, Terry, here in just a moment. But let's dive right into this here in just a second here, because we've got two amazing gentlemen with us here that are going to help clear the air and just let us know what's going on. The excitement is building, but there's also been some rumors that we need to dispel. So in just one moment here, we're going to have Jamar and Russ, who are from Impressions Expo and Impressions Magazine. And they're going to talk to us about what's going on in Long Beach and beyond. So, Terry, should we just go ahead and dive right into that?
I think we should. That's I know a lot of people are tuning in just for this information. I just got done with a meeting with Equipment Zone, and it was all a buzz about, hey, did you hear this rumor? Did you hear that rumor? so I said, you guys need to tune into Two Regular Guys today.
Yeah. Quit spreading the rumors. Just come get it from the source right here. So let's go ahead and welcome them in, Terry, and let's see what's happening here for Impressions Expo. So, Eric, if you can bring those fine gentlemen in. Hello, Russ and Jamar. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Happy to.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Hey, Russ, you're the new show director. And as we said before we came on the air, you're the new captain of the ship. But hey, we're steering into a hurricane. Good luck. See ya. Let's cut to the chase. So where are we with the Long Beach show right now? Exhibitors, attendees, the city of Long Beach.
Yes, we are moving forward with the event right now. Just to put that rumor to rest, we are definitely going to have the event. We are so excited to bring the market back together after 2 years. I know it's been a really long time. Yeah. And there's a good buzz. I know there's pent up demand. So we are just thrilled to be headed towards Long Beach in just 2 short weeks.
All right, headed towards Long Beach. I think that's pretty amazing to hear, and so get that rumor out of the way right away. I'm glad we cleared that up, Russ.
Wait, that Impressions Expo ship is not in line at Long Beach, right? Behind all those other.
No,
because if you could pull up next to one of those boats, then there's something I need off of one of them.
I'm sure. Take a number, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, that's great to hear, Russ. Thank you so much for just starting us off with that. I think we can all breathe a big sigh of relief here. Before we get into some of those other rumors, though, Jamar, I wanted to ask you about some of the things that might be happening with the Impressions Magazine booth there at the show. So maybe start us off with that.
Sure. And again, like Russ said, thanks for having us on, guys. We always like to share, be in your presence and talk to the audience directly. So thank you guys for having us. At Impressions Expo this year, we're really excited, like Russ said, to get back in front of our community. It's been a long time. We saw people in Atlantic City last year and in Fort Worth, and those were great shows. And of course, everybody knows Long Beach is an event like no other. So it's always good for us to be able to come out to the West Coast and engage that community and get together and have, 3 days of really solid education and networking. So we're really looking forward to that. So in terms of what's happening at the Impressions booth, we have a couple of new awards that we're giving out this year. Some programs and some things that we think that people really like and appreciate, and some things that we want to try to gain momentum with going forward. One of those things is what we call the Impressions Community Service Award. So this is something that we came up with because we've heard countless stories over the past 2 years, ever since the COVID-19 pandemic hit, about decorators who really focused on paying it forward. Not only in their communities, but with efforts that have had an industry-wide and even nationwide impact. And so we really want to recognize that. We did a call for entries for people that wanted to nominate some decorators and people in this community who have really just focused on doing goodwill and serving their communities, whether it's on the local scale or on a national scale. And so we've heard countless stories of people that have focused on philanthropy and humanitarianism and things like that. So we really thought it was important to recognize someone that's really made an impact. So we're going to be giving out that award or announcing that award, at
Nice.
Impressions Expo in Long Beach. We also have something we call the Impressions Lifetime Achievement Award. And so this was a way for us to honor a decorator who's achieved apparel decorating excellence as shown in our previous Impressions Awards. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to pull off the Impressions Awards for the past couple of years just because of the pandemic and how much of an impact this made on our decorating community. And so we didn't really think the timing was appropriate to say, hey, run some presses and decorate some shirts and submit them for an awards competition, especially when we weren't having shows and we weren't going to be able to do judging or anything like that. So kind of in place of that, what we decided to do was let's honor someone that's, the Impressions Awards competition has been around for 40 years. It's a really prestigious award and a prestigious competition. And I have to give thanks to our previous teams, previous leaders who really kind of established that awards competition because they made it what it is today. And they made the brand, the name as prestigious as it is today. So our goal with this Impressions Lifetime Achievement Award is to honor a decorator that has, taken home some awards from previous competitions. It's kind of like a recognition of the best of the best.
Yeah.
So special thanks to all of our judges. We got a panel that got together to vote on some of these decorators. And so we're going to be honoring a decorator who has won previous Impressions Award and giving them a lifetime achievement. So the Impressions Community Service Awards and the Impressions Lifetime Achievement Award will both be named at Impressions Expo in Long Beach. And I really have to give a thanks to our partners at Ink Kitchen and the judges, like I said, who really helped us pull this off because without them, this wouldn't be possible. So special thanks to them. And we really hope that people come out to the Impressions booth at the show. We're going to be doing it, I believe, on the first day of the show in the Ink Kitchen area, which is going to be right near the Impressions booth. It'll be a great time. So hopefully everybody comes out to recognize those very deserving individuals.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's super. Jamar, I think you have your dates wrong, though, because I remember the first Impressions Award, so that couldn't have been 40 years.
Are you saying it was longer, Terry?
You're right, Terry. I'm sorry. You're right. What was I thinking, right?
It's got to be 20
It was only 20 years, exactly.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those are prestigious awards, and so cool that you guys have that new category to recognize those folks. I agree that so many people stepped up, and we really appreciate you guys recognizing those folks and doing that for our industry. So thank you very much, Jamar. Terry, let's how about we get into dispelling some other rumors? Maybe we'll kick it back over to Russ here, and because not only have we heard a few that we kind of put in our notes, but I've already seen one in our comments here section. So Terry, do you want to start off with that
absolutely. You guys know this already. It's going all over. Everybody's getting it in their email. The Safer at Home Health Order from City of Long Beach that came out this week, and it says the hall is limited to 500 total people. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so I will happily dispel this. So what it is there's not a 500 person maximum for the show. So what California considers a mega event, it used to be any event over 1,000 people. They've lowered the threshold down to 500 people. But being a mega event, what you have to have are certain measures in place. A, requiring masks, which we were. B, you either need to have proof of being fully vaccinated 2 weeks prior to entry of the show, or C, provide a negative COVID test. It's 2 days prior for PCR, 1 day rapid antigen before you arrive. With those measures in place, we are able to have an event above the 500 person threshold. Okay.
Perfect.
Hey, and Russ, let me ask you real quick about the people who aren't vaxxed who are doing the test. What if they are a vendor and it's a 3-day event? Do they have to retest or?
No, if you show up on Wednesday for the show and provide your test, that covers you for 5 days, and that's in accordance with California ordinances.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that obviously, yeah, that big rumor about it, being limited to 500 people was the one going around that I think was scaring a lot of people. So that's great to hear that that's not the case. And then, the other part that I love about this, Russ, is that not only are you guys obviously got your arms around all this, but you're doing it safely, right? We're you're requiring masks, so that's going to keep people safe. And then these tests and all the things that are required. So, So I guess the other thing I'd like to ask Russ is one of the big things that kind of seems to keep popping up is, where are the vendors at? What are we expecting for the show? I'm not really trying to call anybody out, but I know people are excited to get back out there. I just want to make sure that people are going to be able to see the people that they want to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that, Russ? Where's everybody at? I'm sure you guys have had a chance to kind of check in with your vendors and stuff like that. I've seen people get real excited about they're going to be there. I've got an email blast, come see us at the Long Beach show. So where's that stand for you guys?
Yeah, we have a overwhelming support from a lot of folks, and they're excited to get back and see their customers and do business, and try to get back to normal as we can. But the support has been really good thus far, from unanimously across the board from a lot of attendees and exhibitors. So there's a lot of excitement, a lot of support. I know that we have other shows going on right now, Surf Expo in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
To my understanding, that show's going really well. I would anticipate the same for exhibitors and attendees in Long Beach.
Yeah, yeah, and I know it is a difficult place for a lot of vendors to kind of make these decisions, but I mean, honestly, to me, if you care about your customers, you're going to be there to support them, and so I'm hoping that people make those good decisions going forward and come out. Like you guys have said, it's been a while since you've been able to have the Long Beach show, and so we need to take care of those customers over there on the West Coast. And you guys get a ton of people that come in from other places. It's not just a West Coast show. I'd say Long Beach has always been pretty much a national, maybe even international show to a certain extent. So I think it, kind of, I guess for me, I'm just kind of calling out the vendors a little bit here, say, hey, I know it's going to be tough, but show up, set up and be there for your customers. So anyhow, I'm not asking you guys anything. That's on my side. You guys don't have to get into those.
I do have a question though. This isn't a rumor, but Jamar, what's happening with the seminars? Are the speakers going to be masked? How's that going to be handled?
Yeah, so again, everybody that's going to be in the convention center in an enclosed area is going to be wearing masks. That is a requirement, as Russ stated. But, the conference program is still going to go on. We still have a number of speakers that are committed who are delivering workshops and seminars. We have a really, really good lineup that I'm really proud of. And I think all of our attendees and people that have registered for seminars, and I'm encouraging people to continue to do so. Yeah. I think they're really going to be pleased with what we've got. We've got some really cool workshops planned. I'll just give you guys a little sample off the top of my head here. Yeah. We've got performance fabric workshop, part 1 and part 2. That's going to be really well attended, I'm sure. I know that our pal Eric is also going to be doing a workshop on small run patches. I think that's going to be really great. We've got some first time speakers and seminars that are going to be that are really charged up. about delivering some really cool seminar, some content for the seminars. Gavin St. George's has a really good seminar on owning a small shop but looking and feeling like a big shop. Terry, I believe you're doing a seminar on everything you hear about DTG printing on the internet is wrong. I mean, we can't trust the internet sometimes, right? So we're kind of
exactly
set the record straight. But the point is, we've got some really, really good content in these seminars and workshops. And, it's not just screen printing. It's not just embroidery. We've got some really cool digital printing workshops. Everybody's talking about DTF, direct-to-film printing. And a lot of people want to know the differences between DTF and DTG. So we've got a seminar on specifically DTF and DTG and how those two technologies kind of work and what the differences are and things like that from our friends at All American Print Supply. So, like I said, really cool educational content. That's always one of the cornerstones of our conference program is to not only have great content, but we want to keep it engaging and fresh for everybody. And seeing as how this is the first Long Beach in a while, it was really a point of emphasis to bring in some great content that's going to be relevant and help our decorating community as they, try to build their businesses and increase their decorating arsenal. So yeah. I think it's going to be wonderful. Really encourage people to come out and check it out.
Totally. I love it. In fact, Jeff Fuller, a regular, says, I'm excited to be there. I've been eyeing a couple of seminars and classes. Definitely a great lineup. So
awesome.
Quick question from Jay Bassell here. And Russ, I think this may be directed for you here. Will there be rapid testing available on site at the convention center?
Yes. Thank you, Jay. There will. It will be available for purchase right outside of the registration area. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's either between $30 to $45. If you book it ahead of time, it might be at a discounted rate, but you are able to do that there on site as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for clearing that up too, Russ. And then Jay did say Terry is the source of DTG truth, and he's a pretty good guy too. So I don't know if you can believe everything you read on the internet, though. So
well, if it helps, I can attest to that as well.
Okay. All right. Well,
I can attest to that as well.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess either of you guys want to jump in here, but where should potential attendees watch for updates? Where's kind of the latest news, best place to get updates from you guys?
Say social media or our website.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very communicative with any sort of updates that, are in play. So social website, check it out.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I'll clarify. Our social media and our website, not anybody's social media. Don't believe it. Don't believe what you hear on the other social media. If you want the most up-to-date information, we do social media posts across all of our platforms. And like Russ said, impressionsexpo.com. And might I add, we always have great educational content also at impressionsmagazine.com. Feel free to log on and check out all of our informative articles. We've got articles by some speakers from the conference program. Awesome. You can search for certain authors. You can browse all of our content at impressionsmagazine.com. Impressionsexpo.com has the conference lineup as well, so you can see an updated list of all of the speakers and all the educational tracks that we'll be offering in the Impress You conference program.
All right, cool. All right, we got one more ask of you guys before we let you get out of here. So if people have not signed up to attend yet, they can still do so, correct?
Yes, they can. Yep, you can sign up between now through the show on our website, and then you're more than welcome to come and get registered on site at the event. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just let people know. Just tell them the two regular guys sent you, and I'm sure you'll get some special treatment of some sort. But just kidding. Awesome. You guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys clearing all this up. Yeah, the rumors were flying, and to finally get that information, I think hopefully is going to calm everybody down and just make for a great Long Beach show. I unfortunately cannot make it personally, so I've already got FOMO, and it hasn't even started yet. But I know that this is going to be a great show. So Terry will have to give us the full report out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Terry can give a recap.
There you go.
Exactly.
All right. So, guys, before I let you go, one last thing here. Anything else that we missed? Anything else that you wanted to share before we go? Jamar, I'll start with you.
I don't think so. I think, again, just to reiterate, everybody, please come out. We're looking forward to holding a really, really great event for the community. We're very excited about being able to get back in front of our community again, especially those people that we haven't seen in so long. It'll be a great time for, networking, meeting with vendors, and of course, again, educational content. It'll be great. So please feel free to go and sign up, register, and we'll see you there.
Sounds great. Awesome. All right. Well, if you guys have other questions, make sure to reach out to these guys over there on social media through their website or contact us. But Russ, anything else that you want to leave people with before we let you guys get out of here?
Sure. Yep. Just want to let everybody know our activations that were historically inside the arena, we've actually moved them inside of the main hall for a better overall experience for our attendees and exhibitors. So, and what those activations are, it's Innovation Zone, the Shop Talk area, the Impressions magazine booth, and then the on-site learning will all be compartmentalized inside of the main hall. And like Jamar said, we're just so excited to bring everybody back together, and we can do so in a safe and meaningful way for the industry. And we really appreciate your support, and we hope to see everybody out there with us.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
I'm going to piggyback a little bit. I'm sorry, guys.
No problem.
Like Russ said, he mentioned the Innovation Zone activation. That's something that we've done in the past, and we've kind of tried different iterations of it. And I think what we came up with this year is something that's really going to be special and educational. We've got different areas for a bunch of different digital technologies that people have questions about. And we know this because people have contacted us with those questions. DTF printing, what is it? Again, I talked about that with the Impress You conference program, but we've also got the Innovation Zone, and that technology is represented there. And so people can come in and learn about it. We'll have people there to answer questions and educate our attendees on it. You'll see machinery from DTF to DTG to dye sub to sewing garments together. I mean, it's going to be a really cool activation, and I think that's something that people will really find value in. It's going to be done 3 times a day on Friday and Saturday, and by appointment only on Sunday.
Cool.
So everybody, please come out and take a look at that, because it'll be really, really informational, and I think it'll be a really great experience for people. Like Russ said, also we have our on-site learning program with some sessions that are right on the show floor. So if you're going through and you're meeting with exhibitors and you want to sit down and take a break and still do some learning, we've got some 45-minute sessions on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that people can come in and just sit down and learn something from someone.
Cool.
All topics are going to be represented, everything from equipment financing all the way up into some embroidery topics as well, some screen printing topics. So yeah, those are some great activations that I think people will really will really be interested in.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I love it. That sounds amazing. So awesome. A couple quick comments from our regulators here. Marcia Derryberry says, sounds like a great show. I will be there. So there you go.
Oh, awesome.
Cool. And then Tammy says, looking forward to the show. Russ, we do have one more quick question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Jeff Fuller asked, will booster shots be required?
Good question. And no, in order for, according to California law, people are fully vaccinated when they have had 2 full doses of Pfizer or Moderna, or one of the Johnson & Johnson. And also for some international folks, I know there's been some questions on that front. Those vaccines that are government approved from other countries, those will be accepted as well on the vaccination cards. Okay.
Excellent.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Thank you, Russ, for clearing that up as well. And you guys, thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing all the great news and seeing all the success out of Long Beach. What's after Long Beach, guys?
A nap, sleep,
A nap.
Atlantic
Nap in
City.
celebration of the success.
A cold beer and a nap. Yeah.
But you guys have other shows on the schedule, right, for 2022? Okay, cool. So
We
get over
do.
there to Impressions Expo and check all those out. And afterwards, let's see if we can grab you guys again and get some updates and see what's happening in 2022 as well.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Great.
See you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Thank you guys very
Sounds
much.
good.
All right.
Thanks, guys,
Bye.
for having me.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that answered a lot of questions for a lot of folks. So
Yeah.
that's, I know it answered questions for me.
Yeah. And I love that, they were completely transparent too. They weren't hiding anything. They gave us all the information. They're dealing with a lot of stuff that, and the thing is, we're joking with them before we had them on that this is a little bit fluid for them. And they said, yeah, that's a word. Right. So it's really appreciate all the effort that they're putting in to make sure that they are able to pull off this show, but also to make sure that everybody's safe and that, we're being responsible too as an industry. So appreciate all of that. All right, Terry. Well, gosh, we've got some ground to cover yet here. So
we do. We're halfway through the show. So.
halfway. So let's hit a couple of quick news items and then let's dive right into this.
Yeah, a couple of things. Graphics Pro has a sublimation survey out there. So if you take their survey, you're going to receive back the summary of the findings, which is always really interesting. So if you're a sublimator, jump out there and do that. Yep. There's also a chance to win a $100 gift card up on the screen. So any of our listeners on the podcast, just go to our website. In the show notes. It'll be in our show notes.
Yep.
And also SNS Activewear promotes Frank Myers to president and welcomes Christopher Kudowski as CFO. And they announced this strategic promotion of Chief Financial Officer, Chief Operating Officer Frank Myers to president of the company. And they announced the hiring of Christopher Kudowski as well, beginning January now, 2022. And Aaron, what do you have?
Yeah. And I put your name by that because of the hard names to read. So, sorry about that. Not a ton of other news. I found those things, but then for me, I just have a couple of Skills USA announcements. I know last year, it seems so funny to say last time we had a show about 3 weeks ago, I talked about the fact that I have been honored to become the new technical committee chairman for the sublimation competition. So working hard on the Skills USA stuff for this year. So I just had a couple of quick notes from me. So Skills USA and the folks over at Printing United are looking for a volunteer who will take on the National Technical Committee Chairman role for the screen printing competition. So there's 3 competitions that Printing United are involved with, and I'm handling sublimation, but they're looking for somebody to take over the screen printing competition. So if you would like to volunteer and be involved in this great program that's going to help feed our industry, not only the labor, but the young people that we need to keep this industry growing for a long time, please do me a favor and reach out to either Ray Weiss and at his email address, and it's in the comments there, and we'll get it onto our links, or Bill Pope. So those 2 gentlemen are kind of heading up. In fact, Bill's kind of the lead. So his email address is bpope@printing.org. So reach out to those guys if you are interested in talking to them about the screen printing competition and being able to help and support that. Like I said, they need a technical committee chairman for that event. And then from my side of things, on the sublimation side, I'm going to be assembling my committee here, trying to get that done sometime this month. So if you would like to volunteer to be part of that, if you'll please reach out to me at aaron@tworegularguys.com. For the committee, there's really no requirement of travel or anything like that. You can help remotely, but I am looking for people who are also willing to come to the national competition and be judges. So if that's a potential for you, please let me know. Any help that I can get, I would really appreciate it. It's going to be in Atlanta this year, June 23rd and the 24th. And then I'm also looking for companies and sponsors and people who'd be willing to donate blank substrates and equipment and things like that for decorating during the competition, and heat presses, those kinds of things. You'll certainly be featured as a supporting member, and which not only helps you build your future customers, but it puts you in front of a lot of schools, and just those schools are always looking for new suppliers and supplies and things like that. So if you'll just reach out to me by email, again, Aaron@tworegularguys, we can discuss how to make it a win-win for everybody. I think this is a truly unique opportunity with kind of a little bit of a changing of the guard here. I'm really open and pliable at this point. So, if you think that you can come up with a win-win, that, for me, it's all about making sure these young people have the resources and the tools that they need to get into our industry and become that future. Right. I want, you've got people like Jeff Fuller's son, who is 10 and making embroidery hats, right, and patches and stuff like that. And so I want to just make sure that there's opportunities for kids to get excited about our industry. There's not, you have to kind of happen upon our industry a lot of times. And so if we can promote programs like Skills USA, we won't be having to worry about people happening upon our industry anymore.
Yeah.
So anyhow.
And Aaron, let me add, as a former judge of this competition, it's lots of fun. It really is. It's so cool to see these high school kids and the projects they're working on and their take on the industry. It's really kind of inspiring to be a part of it. So
yeah, it is really inspiring. That's a great point, Terry. Thank you for bringing that up. That's the reason I'm so passionate about this, because it is really inspiring. And like you said, it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to just, we all go to these trade shows and stuff like that, but being able to hang out for a couple of days with your fellow community members and be around these young people, the conversations and just the fun that you have and all that stuff, it's really cool. So, Tyler, appreciate that. Tyler says 100% love bringing young minds into the community. So Tyler, thank you so much for that. Let's see here. What else do we got in the comments? Suzanne says Adam should be a speaker and do a class. I love it.
He should.
And then Jeff, his dad, says, yay, Adam, I'm lucky I'm able to help guide him through his journey. So very cool.
Very nice.
All right, Terry. Well, we've still got lots of ground to cover, but you know what? We need a dad joke, right?
We do. We do
get into 2022 without a dad joke. So I've got a dad joke that I think is going to be quite a groaner. So I'm just putting it out there now. Are you ready, Terry?
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Okay. Why can't drummers come back from retirement?
I don't know. Why can't drummers come back from retirement?
Because there will be repercussions.
That's pretty.
I told you it was a groaner. All right. Loving it.
Mine didn't make the cut. Eric's like, oh boy, your joke.
I will mute your mic, he said. Sure.
All right. Before we dive in, Aaron, halfway through the show, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys, and give us your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of our show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys with all your industry friends right now so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate reviews out there wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can give us a review, it's really helpful to me and Aaron and to Eric. And so please take a moment to do that. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions.
Yes, indeed. Join in for sure. So for 2022 here, Terry, we are looking for sponsors here at Two Regular Guys. And so if you or anybody you know would be interested in participating in the show and making sure that we can keep bringing this every week, go over to tworegularguys.com/sponsorship, and you can see all the details. Yes, that's right, Terry. The number two regularguys.com. So yes, please come and support us. We'd love to share your company with the Two Regular Guys community, the regulators. So, all right, Terry. Well, should we do this? Because here's the deal: we cannot this cannot be a two-parter. We are booked up until March at this point with guests. So,
I know, and I've got some other folks that are talking to me about coming on the show. So,
so let's get into this, Terry. Let's first off, you mentioned, first thing we do is go back to look at what we said last year. And so let's just start there. 10 things we'd like to see in 2021. Yeah. You were number one, Terry. So what did you say for number one there?
I said, I'd like to see maybe some regional concepts where we can still get out and kick the tires without putting anyone into danger. And at the time, all the shows have been canceled, and it did happen. We did have a few shows this year, and people did get to go out, and I was out speaking, and I know you as well, and same with Eric. So,
Yeah.
so I guess it sort of kind of happened.
Yeah. I think it's sort of it certainly would be nice to continue to see that kind of grow, new cities and new, kind of ideas and thoughts. So, but yeah, there's definitely some cool stuff out there. So good. All right. I was number 2. I'd say I'd like to see continued innovation and more user-friendly services that allow for personalizations on people's web stores. So I said I was currently looking at something that might fit that need, but not sure it's in the right hands to take it to the masses. Yes, unfortunately, I was correct. It was not in the right hands. They just didn't quite get it.
Not ready for prime time.
Yeah. And I think there are some things out there. I think you got to dig a little bit, but I think it requires a little bit more kind of, I don't know, hand holding and work on the front end that maybe is going to, again, to get this to the masses to where people can, really to kind of have just like a put in place store that is at a price point and in that middle level. Like I said, I know there's ones out there, but I'd love to see a little bit more on that. So we'll leave it at that, Terry. How about that?
Okay.
And then for number 3, Eric joined us last year, and he said, I'd like to see more people adopt design thinking to apparel decoration and promotions. Design thinking being the attempt to understand the user, challenge assumptions, and redefine problems. So, Eric, give us the thumbs up, thumbs down, middle. Where are we at with that? How'd we do? Oh, we got a thumbs up.
Look at that.
Thumbs up for the. Sorry, Eric. You're in the background there. All right, Terry.
Eric's a much deeper thinker than us. With his ideas.
Mainly because he's smarter, and that's why we have him. But all right, Terry.
We got a thumbs up for that too. All right, my next one was, I'd like to see more people become experts at what they do, and the genesis of that was so many people asking just the simplest questions online that I thought, you need to do a little bit more work, a little bit more research, and not have somebody hold your hand through every step of the process. And I'm going to say that this one we could have on here every year, but I will say, and I'll give you an example. Equipment Zone has an F2100 web pay or Facebook group, and there are a whole group of people who are sharing their experiences and then going in and answering questions for people. So I'm going to give this a thumbs up that there are people that are becoming expert at what they do out in the industry.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I think, Terry, the big part of that, right. It's totally fine to, certainly we got to ask questions, but I think when you talk about becoming an expert, the only way to become an expert is to actually do it, right? You got to put stuff into action. Okay, cool. And then, so instead of relying on everybody else to say, oh, this is the way I do it, and this is, you have to set this up and make it work for you. There's not a magic bullet out there. And I think that's what people are kind of looking for. They want to take the pressure off of themselves. But my point to that is, just do it. To take the action. You're going to learn from that experience. If you believe nothing is a failure, only a learning experience, you'll never be a failure. It's pretty cool.
Right.
So, all right. So number 5, Terry, was for me. I said all of us starting to act like we are the big global industry that we are, adopt an investment mentality, and realize we are part of the soon-to-be $50 billion industry. So yeah, I see that, right? I mean, as new people are coming on board, you still have a lot of this, how do I get the cheapest possible thing? And then why doesn't it work? And this industry's terrible kind of thing. And it's like, okay, you kind of let those people go. But I mean, the reality is we are part of this $50 billion a year industry, and we need to act like it. We need to, be professionals. We need to, have, get rid of the Yahoo email addresses, all that kind of stuff. And because when we're not, what happens is we kind of leave a bad taste in the consumer's mouth,
right?
A little bit, and that doesn't help anybody. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd give that a half, right? Yeah. I think we're getting there, and we'll continue to.
I think so too.
Carry that.
It's a gradual process, and always will be, because of the of the low entry expense to get into garment decorating, I think.
Yeah,
So,
totally. Cool.
Okay.
All right. What was number 6, Terry?
Eric was up next, and he'd said, I'd like to see businesses of all sizes, specialties, and strengths in the industry seen as and working in a more integrative rather than exclusive way. What say you, Eric?
We got the thumbs up there. Okay, good. And I actually, the funny part is, Terry, when I was putting together my notes for this year, I did not read these ahead of time, these ones from last year. So I'm going to actually talk about something similar to this here for one of mine this year. So just to giving it away a little bit. So I'd say this is another work in progress as well. So
let's see, we call that building on. So.
Yeah. Building on. All right.
Okay.
Terry,
mine was next. I'd like to see a broader range of garments available that are already pre-treated for DTG printing, and absolutely happening. Sanmar certainly has come out with a line, RTP apparel, they have more products in their line. So yeah, and I don't want to exclude anybody, but more and more companies are coming out with pre-treated garments, and the experimenting we've done has been fairly positive. Some of them excellent, some of them less than excellent, but hey, that's the positive twist, isn't it? Yeah. Less than excellent.
Less than excellent.
That's like firing somebody. You've been invited to leave.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Terry. I've actually really enjoyed printing those Sanmar. What are they? Shoot, I just lost their
same with me.
District, their district.
Yes,
thank you. District DTG shirts, and they've printed really well for me. So thank you. All right, Terry. Let's see. That was number 7, right? So number 8. I'd like to see some new innovation and creative thinking out of the blank product space, specifically garments. I'm going to go with less than excellent there. How about that?
Aaron, I think a lot of folks were kind of sitting on their hands in 2021, just trying to hold everything together. So I think we'll give them a pass.
That to a certain extent, but and we'll give them a pass. But again, I apparently needed to go read these first because I will be talking about this stuff. All right, Terry, number 9.
You didn't copy and paste, did you?
No, I seriously did not look at the old ones before I put mine in. So maybe next year I'll be smarter, but that's okay. No, I mean, that's kind of part of this, right? Like you said,
sure.
We build on, we kind of say, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's try something new, right? We didn't fail. We're just trying something new. All right, Terry, number 9.
Okay, my number 9 was the industry could use a refresher course in customer service in 2021. I'm going to say this one could probably stay on here for, ever as well. I do think this. I think that some of the folks who didn't give great customer service may have fallen away in 2021. The strong survive in tough times. And so, but I still reiterate that it is so easy to return a phone call. It's so easy to respond to an email. And just recently, someone was telling me they called 3 or 4 different companies about a piece of equipment, and only one of them called them back. In tough times, if somebody's calling you wanting to buy something, really, you can't call them back? I'm just too darn busy. So I'm going to say I'm going to give this one a negative. This didn't happen.
Less than excellent. Okay. All right.
Far less than excellent.
All right. Well, last one from last year was I said some sort of group, organization, or regular coming together of our industry as a whole to work in the spirit of raising the tide for everyone. When we talked about that, we also that kind of became a call out for me. And so I'm going to give myself a less than excellent mark. Did not pull that off. And I'm not sure 2022 is going to be the year for that either with everything going on. But you know what? Come meet me out at Skills USA and we'll figure it out. How about that?
There you go. That sounds awesome. All right.
Well, let's get into 2022 here, Terry.
Okay. My number 1. Is it too easy and cheap just to say I'd like to see more trade shows happen this year? And so many of us want to get out there and touch and feel the new products. Aaron, there are so many new people in this industry now who have never had the opportunity to go to a trade show, and that's insane. I mean, when we get out and have a really big show again, and maybe that's going to happen in Long Beach, there are going to be so many new faces there, and those folks have really missed out, and I hope that that things will go in a direction where we can get back to normal, air quote there for podcast listeners, with trade shows. So that's my hope for the year. So I guess we'll judge this one by how many shows happen as opposed to how many shows get canceled.
Yep. And Terry, I know
that.
I know that, obviously a lot of that has to do with the situation and what's going on, and people can only do so much. But here's the like you said, Terry, we have to get out to these in-person events somehow, some way, no matter how good we get at the virtual experience, and it was great to see so many people step up and so many people doing so much in that virtual space to add more education, to add more, just strengthen our industry really. But the people that then said, okay, I'm just going to rely on that, I think they're really missing the boat, right? I mean, I think that and right, we do this virtually. We do a lot of virtual stuff here at Two Radar Guys. My company, our success group, it's all online training and stuff like that. So again, I get all that, but I also know it's really important to get in front of people and have those face-to-face conversations to be able to, in our industry, we've got to touch and feel the equipment, the garments, the blanks, when you get this stuff and it shows up and you go, yeah, this isn't anything like what I was thinking it's going to be. That's what your customers are dealing with too. So you got to figure out ways to make that happen. And again, let's just get out to those shows and see people.
Yeah. Aaron, think about the live events we've done, especially like at the DAX show with those panels and how awesome it was to get out in front of people to do the show and have people walk up to the microphone and talk to them in person. It's been those were good times for sure, and I'm hopefully they are soon to be again. So.
Yeah, agreed. All right, for me, Terry, the next one here is. What I'd like to see in what Printing United does in the garment and personalized product space. And this is maybe not, and maybe I'm cheating here, just like maybe yours was a little too cheap and easy, but we'll start off on the cheap and easy, right? So this is not necessarily something I'd like to see that I'm not seeing. More of a hope to see what kind of comes from our industry's trade association. I think we all still consider Printing United our industry trade association. And, I just have concerns and that I'd like to see kind of squashed, right? They've acquired a lot of things in the packaging and printing worlds and, all that convergence and stuff like that. And I think there is a lot of positives that come out of that, but there's also a lot of opportunity for those spaces to push out the garment space. It scares me, I guess, is what I'm saying, Terry. So now, on the flip side of that, I know there are some fantastic people over there. I can't name them all, but the people off the top of my head that I know that are going to be in our corner here, people like Amanda, Josh Caruth, Cassie Green, they get what's going on in our industry. So I'm really optimistic and just, I guess, more of a cautionary tale, Terry. Like we talked about with some of the community stuff, if I'm calling people out or whatever, it's not necessarily that, but I'm happy to participate in any panels or support or do my part to make sure that we keep that representation in Printing United, and I guess if I was going to take that one step further, I'd love to see some more representation from the sublimation and the embroidery side into the Printing United world. So, Charlie just mentioned here, I think this is a great comment from Charlie Toblieb. So it would be nice if Printing United started doing more with the textile screen printing side again. And again, we know that everybody's dealing with challenges, but, like ThreadX, for example, haven't heard any new news on that. Maybe there is. So maybe we'll hear something about that now.
Yeah, that was 3 years ThreadX happened,
Uh-huh.
and but everybody that went to that, Aaron, it just took so much away from it. It was just
Yep.
such a fantastic event where it was just we decorators and with some awesome seminars and get-togethers. And man, if Printing United could somehow revive that and maybe even make it part of Printing United and an extra day or something like that. It was just such a tremendous event, and you went home from it, energized. So
Yep. Yep.
I would love to see something like that happen again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I agree with you and Charlie. And like I said, I'm happy to participate. So if anybody needs to reach out to me, please do, and we'll see. But yes, let's get back to doing more with the textile screen printing side again. So excited about that. All right, Terry, what's next? Oh, did we lose you? Are you frozen? Terry may be frozen. So
am I back?
Yep, you're back now. There we go.
It might be on my end. My internet has been a little spotty the last couple of days. So this one, hopefully this doesn't sound too negative, but I hope for next year there are fewer snake oil salesmen in our industry. They're always going to be around, but when I just implore people, when you're buying new equipment or supplies or services, do your research, do your homework before you hand over a credit card. Because, and Aaron, you know this, there are, when somebody says to you, I just bought from XYZ company, and inside of you, you're like, oh my God, how much money did you give them?
Yeah. You cringe for them. Yes,
exactly. And or when they say, I'm embarrassed to tell you who I bought from or what I bought, and you already know what they're going to say. Everybody out there, please just do your homework.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not rampant. It's not a major issue,
but a sliver.
Yeah. Yep. And kind of like you were saying with, the customer service side of things, fortunately, those people do show themselves after time, and so they go away,
Yeah.
But yes, they're still around. So let's continue to, and us as an industry can do something about that, right here. Like you said, do the research, make sure that you're understanding, take responsibility for your own business, right? And by doing that, that means you got to do a little work. You got to take the actions. So it's definitely good to bring that up, Terry. So thank you for that.
Okay.
So Ramona says, I agree with Terry, but once the deed is done, we don't want to lick their wounds. We want to help them work with what they have until they can get different.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that totally is true. And so that's where, like I said, you cringe a little bit, and then you go, okay, well, how can we help them out of this, right? And
here's what we have to work with. Here's what's in front of us.
And Terry, I remember back when I was early on in the industry, there was some different things like that out there. It's been long enough now. The you do that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And you'd hear people go, oh, I bought the Udo, and you'd go, oh, sorry. But then you'd say, okay, you know what? They're in the industry now. Now we can help them get to the right place, right? So, yeah, that's good. All right. Eric says, from the software world, if you are getting a 90% discount, that is a pirated copy. You may lose your access when the shared serial number gets canceled, and you won't get official support. So there you go. There, a forewarning from Eric, who knows about software and lots of things. But
so
all right,
red flag, 90% discount.
Red flag. There you go. Perfect. All right. So for me, Terry, less clicks. We're all decorators, and I know that we all have our own communities that we like to kind of be part of, and that's totally cool. But again, going back to that idea that we're part of this $50 billion a year industry, we also need to think from inside of our communities. How do we support the greater good? And this may go back to one of the things that Eric had brought up last year when he was talking about, I like to see businesses of all sizes, especially in strengths in this industry, seen as working together in a more integrative rather than exclusive way, right? I mean, so I guess for me, Terry, this is about, I get it if you're part of the screen print community and that's your thing, but make sure that you're also thinking about how you can help the rest of the industry. Maybe you're somebody that's kind of looked down on hobbyists or something like that. I'm not saying I know anybody like that specifically, but what I'm saying is we do have this tendency to kind of divide ourselves up into these little cliques a little bit. And I think we can all do ourselves a lot more if we say, okay, I love my community, but make sure that we're leaving the doors open to let other people in too. So what are your thoughts on that, Terry?
Well, just like being a regulator, because we have listeners from all parts of the industry, all technologies, newbies. Charlie Tobley was commenting here.
You're saying he's a newbie?
And I'm saying that he is the opposite of a newbie. and so get into communities like the two regular guys, regulators, and where there's a cross section of folks. So
I agree.
Here.
And yes, Charlie is not a newbie. Charlie will forget more about screen printing than I'll ever know. So
yeah, but he has great stories too.
He does have great stories. All right. We're just teasing Charlie. It's okay.
Great stories and great shirts, Charlie.
Yes, indeed. I can't wait to see Charlie out there again soon. All right, go ahead, Terry.
Absolutely.
What's next?
My next one is the shop checkup checklist. I was just thinking about this the other day when I talk to decorators, in a variety of areas and talk about their issues. I always have them walk step by step through their process so that I can pinpoint that thing they did further back that made them trip up. And I started thinking about it, and I thought, there's certain things from shop to shop that everybody should maybe check on so that we're all on the same page when it comes to how we're producing our products. And I hope this makes sense. But for instance, a screen printer, you're checking your screen tension and checking your dryer for optimal curing without over curing. And there's like a checklist you could have in every part of our industry that every operator should take a look at and say, okay, now we're all on an even playing field. Now let's get your question answered. Does that make sense? And so I could even see a supplier, maybe a screen print supplier, having a loaner kit with a tension meter and some different items that you could basically tune up your shop with. So then it's so much easier to figure out, okay, now here's why you're having this issue with your underbase or whatever. So anyway, I think it would be kind of cool. And I don't know if that's me or other people putting together this checklist, but I'm writing this down, aren't you?
I was just thinking to myself, Terry, I hope he's not going to hate me forever for this, but is this something that should be coming out of terrycombs.com?
It probably should be. Yeah.
No, but I agree. Like you said, the suppliers should definitely be involved. And like you said, I do see that being something valuable for all of the segments, they're maybe at ericcampbell.com. He's just going to mute my mic here in a second. So
by February 1st, Eric.
He's like, no.
He's saying no on this one already. Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. Well, let's move on before I make any more enemies here. Terry, I'd like to see a USA made vacuum press, a 3D press, some people have called them. I thought back, 5-10, maybe not even that long ago, there was some interesting stuff happening in that 3D sublimation world. And then, the economy changed a little bit, and then obviously into the pandemic years and stuff like that. And people stopped buying as many cell phone cases. I think cell phone cases were one of the things really driving that 3D vacuum press market. But there was other things, and they kind of seem to die from my perspective. I don't hear a whole lot about that anymore. And honestly, I think the only way to resurrect that is to really improve the quality of the presses. I've got a couple of vacuum presses, and you have to have like 3 or 4 of them just to make sure that you've got what you need to keep them running. And they're just not very consistent, from the heating and all that other stuff. So, and they are what they are, though. They're imported. They're fairly inexpensive. So, maybe there's a U.S. manufacturer out there that thinks that this might be a worthwhile endeavor. I know there were some folks over there in Europe that put together a machine for a little while. I'm not sure how it took off. It was Technotape, I believe, was the name of the company. I may have that wrong off the top of my head, but yeah. So I think there's some. I think there's some cool opportunities to get a little more depth into the sublimation world. So not just round stuff, not just flat stuff, but let's see if we can decorate some things that have some curves to it.
It's funny, Aaron, when I read this, when you put this into the notes, I thought, oh, I remember several years ago, you taking me to a booth at a trade show to show this to me and talking about, man, this is the future. This is going to be so cool. And when I read it, I thought, I don't remember seeing that at a trade show for years now.
Like I said, there lots of factors seem to come together to kind of kill it a little bit. But I don't think it necessarily has to be dead. I think there are some cool opportunities for people. And there may be people doing some stuff with the current vacuum presses out there. I'd like to, and maybe it doesn't have to be USA made, but it certainly need a heck of a lot better quality and, consistency out of the products. Because even now, like I said, I've got one of those vacuum presses here, and you ruin so many freaking blanks. Your spoilage rate is through the roof just because it's not great. So, yeah. So, all right, let's see here, Terry.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, thanks. Let me just make sure we caught all the comments here real quick before we move on.
I did see that Charlie Toblieb said he's writing a book about his years in the industry. That will be very, very interesting.
Yep, that'll be a book worth reading right there for sure.
We've certainly heard many great stories from Charlie over the years on this show.
And it'll be fun to go back and read those stories without us being in the way of trying to of talking over him. So, and then Jeff Fuller said, "I've never heard of a vacuum press." Yeah, so check that out. 3D press is probably what most people actually call it, but in reality, it's a vacuum press. So it's a basically heater that then also has suction in it to get you the pressure that you need to make things that have curves on them. And then Margaret says, I'd love to have a small sublimation printer for mini projects. I think that's worthwhile, Margaret. Check out the Epson F170 if you're looking for a small dedicated sublimation printer. All right, Terry, what's next on your list here, sir?
Okay, mine's kind of back to trade shows again. I would love to see more panel discussions like in the old days of trade shows. When I was an early decorator, I loved to go to those sessions where there were 4 or 5 or 6 experts up there and taking questions from the audience, or they'd have a moderator who would have questions, and just to listen to people with years of experience in the industry talk about different technologies and techniques, and you see a little bit of it at the shows, but not like it used to be. And I just would love to get back to that. I think it would be I think that audiences would get a ton out of having 5 people up there on the stage that with probably 150 years combined history in the industry. So something like we did something similar at the DAC show a couple of years ago, Aaron. And anyway, I'd like to see and you know what, if this is going to be another COVID year, it's the kind of thing you could do as a Zoom meeting as well. So I'd like to see more of that.
No, I agree. I think a good panel discussion is good. And like you said, there are some of them, but not like that was in the old days. Yeah, I remember that for sure. When I was first getting in the industry, there was quite a few of those. And like I said, you just get such a cool representation. You get an opportunity to hear the take from many different people. I had an opportunity to do a panel with a couple of sublimation experts at the APA a couple of years back, and that was really cool. I was sitting next to Jimmy Lamb, but other than that, it worked out pretty good.
Did you get to talk?
I had to actually tell him to cut his mic a couple. No, it was good. It was fun to do that, and we. Even dipping mugs came up. So that's a whole.
That's when you got to talk, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then Eric says, love the panel that Madeira has. Jeff and I do at Impressions, had that in Fort Worth and doing it again in Long Beach. So that's pretty cool. Check that out. And then Christine says, I want to get some panel discussions going, diversity and women's issue going at the show is one of my goals for 2022 and beyond. So there you go. Christine putting out those goals, and that's how you make goals happen. You put them out there into the world. All right, Terry. Well, let's keep moving here. I know we're into bonus time, but we'll get there. I think we can pull this off today.
I think we're doing good.
Yeah. So next thing I'd like to see is for more people to embrace the power of the mastermind. We've had some people on this program before, Kylene and Missy, talking about their mastermind experiences. And what I'm talking about here, Terry, is a real mastermind. There is a very specific formula that's been proven over and over again for making these work. In fact, this formula goes all the way back to the times of like people like Andrew Carnegie and kind of the founding, getting into those, really rich people that were part of America's kind of growth. So I see so many kind of so-called masterminds pop up, and it's a lot of times they're just more of a tribe or a social gathering with a little teaching. A real mastermind is all about accountability, kind of working with a limited number of people in a very specific format where the time is kept and there's an agenda to adhere to. Like I said, this is a well-proven formula, and I don't bring this up, Terry, just because I run masterminds. Because I do believe in this so much. I do run masterminds, but I'd like to see, just people kind of embrace that a little bit more and make it be, a more common thing in their industry. I know, like, for example, I have my own mastermind group that I'm a part of to help me as well. And I meet with them every 2 weeks, probably one of the most valuable hour and a half, depending on what the program is, that I have during the course of those 2 weeks. And so it's just invaluable to me. And we've heard from the folks that joined us to talk about that mastermind. And I know that the people that I get to work with in the mastermind groups, it literally changes their business. We've had people that have increased their business by 158% in the course of a year and they give a lot of that credit to working with the mastermind. So I just want to see more people open to that concept and be willing to play full out. Sometimes it gets to be kind of a little bit of people look at it as kind of a wooey experience. You really have to kind of play full out. But I think that if you can swallow that ego and really be open to it, it can be hugely valuable to you. So,
well, and Aaron, the opportunity to have a conversation with someone, so many people who own businesses, they don't have a peer group or somebody to just to verbalize about their business and someone to share ideas with. So I agree with you 100%. When I've been involved in groups like this in the past, been hugely, worth that time commitment to do it, and 1,000 times back to you. So
yeah, well, and the people that understand this and use this, like I said, I run some mastermind groups, but I'm also have been asked to be a lead of some mastermind groups that Jack Canfield runs. He's got a program called Momentum Masterminds, and he's asked me to lead some of their breakout rooms with a number of other leaders and stuff like that. And these people, not only they see the time that is worthwhile. This particular mastermind group, people are paying 10 grand to be part of this thing for a year. So it's obviously there's some investment of time, but there might be some investment of money. But the reason why people see this is they see what that's going to bring for them, how that's going to change their business and change their life. And so I'm not saying you have to go out and spend 10 grand on it, but I'm just saying, look for something that looks like a real mastermind. The things that Terry was talking about is massive part of that value. But just make sure that it also has all of the other parts and pieces that come with that, it's that accountability, that structure. Like I said, there's a very specific formula that I've spent some time learning that when I've seen or been part of things that don't work in that format, you might be wasting your time. So, all right.
Very good.
Sorry, I could talk on that forever. I know we don't have that kind of time. So.
All right, number 9. Side hustle guides. And what do I mean by that? I talked about before, I wasn't last year, but I believe the year before, I talked about how distributors, companies that sell equipment, supplies should come up with packages for people who want to do a side hustle, because that's how so many of us go from crafter to full-time decorator, but there's another part to it. You've got a regular full-time job. You've got let's say 10 hours to give to your side hustle every week.
Yeah.
And people are going to do more than that, but I've got this finite amount of time that I can spend on this. So we could have guys in every area of our industry talking about, here's what you should attempt and here's what you should avoid to make the most out of your limited hours and minutes. And what I'm talking about is a focused niche, a focused product line, a focused technology. Here's what I do with my 10 hours or 20 hours of time. And maybe if you're a screen printer, maybe you just focus on 1 and 2 color jobs, or if you are some other type of decorator, these are the only garments I do. Because if you try to be everything to everybody in your side hustle, you're going to be spending all your 10 to 20 hours learning how to do that thing, so get focused. And I think that it's an opportunity for some folks out there to kind of lay out a little guide for doing this as a screen printer, as a sublimator, as an embroiderer, as a direct to garment decorator, as a DTF decorator. So
yeah, I like it. That's cool.
Yeah.
That right up my alley for sure too, and I know right up your alley as well. So we may have to tag ourselves on that one. But
and Eric, let's go ahead and tag Eric. Eric, March 1st, please.
By January,
you could have
15th,
yours put together.
Eric,
Well, I'm getting the head shake. Yeah.
So Terry, but I really do. I think that's a really cool bit, because in our success group, we talk a lot about that, right? When you try to be all things to everybody, you end up being nothing to nobody. That's the saying that we have. And the reality is, when you have limited time, you have to be focused. And so that guide to say, okay, here's what to focus. Yeah, stay away from. I'm trying to think, like, you see people put together all these cool projects and do all these cool things. And that's great when you're a crafter and there's no timeline and you're not trying to make money on it.
You're an artist.
When you're an artist, and that's totally fine if that's where you want to be. But if you need to make this a business, right? You want to get out of that career. You need to move on. You see the writing on the wall, whatever the case may be for you. Unfortunately, that artist part and that crafting part, you have to find that balance between, okay, I have to get paid for that time now. and so it becomes really important to have that guide. I love that.
And if you're focused, you can spend more time producing and less time learning a new craft.
Yeah, that's a good point. Time is money. All right, Terry. Well, let's wrap this up with number 10 here. And so number 10 for me is disruption of the distributor model, especially as it pertains to blank garments. So as I was writing this down, Terry, I did find myself kind of going back and forth between disruption or change or whatever. But unfortunately, I kind of landed on the fact that, I don't know, I kind of feel like the distributors may have already squandered their chance here. From the outside looking in, and both from not only my vantage point, I've reached out, but talking to some other people that have kind of reached out to say, hey, I get it. Yes, COVID, we all get it, right? We've been talking about it for 2 years now. But what are you doing to change? What are you doing to help me, the customer? And, some of these customers I've talked to them are not small by any stretch of the imagination. And unfortunately, they just seem to value profits over customer relations. And again, profit's not a dirty word, but you're not going to have those profits if you have also, just penny pinched all of your customers to death. Things like, all the additional shipping costs because your warehouses don't have a good mix of products out there and stuff like that. So I know I'm kind of being a little bit tough here, and this goes back to what I had said. I'm trying to find it here. Where was that one? I'd like to see some new innovations and creative thinking out of the blank product space that I said last year. I guess I'm just going to be a little more harsh about it this year. We need some changes, and we need some changes drastically. I'd love it for the distributors to step up and do it. But so far, it seems like most of the conversation has been about why it's happening. I think we all understand why it's happening. We also all understand that this is a new normal. Things have to change, and who knows when there might be something. I mean, obviously, we're going through it again right now. So is this
Right.
going to cause another, and this is just going to keep happening over and over again? So I guess for me, what I'm asking for is I want somebody to come tell me about a solution that they're working on. What's the solution to fixing these problems? How are you not taking your problems and making them your customers' problems? And so that's why I said disruption. I think that somebody's going to have to be willing to sacrifice a little of their profits to figure this out.
Very good.
All right.
Okay.
So
we did it.
Did I make everybody mad, or if we get everybody tuned out now? But hey,
no,
okay.
Sometimes we have to be frank,
Yeah. And again, I'm always open and willing to listen, discuss. One of my strengths is as a problem solver. So, I'm not just throwing all these things out there and washing my hands of it. I want to be part of the answers too. So you can always reach me at aaron@tworegularguys.com. And if you need to reach Terry, I'm happy to forward things along to him as well. So
number 2.
Number 2. All right, Terry. Yes. Thank you very much, sir. Very good.
You as well.
What do you, let's make sure we get, Ramona's got a comment here that I don't want to miss. Ramona says, years ago when I worked in the corporate world, we used to say you can blame the guy that just left for 6 months. Anything that goes wrong. The industry has 2 years to blame COVID. It's time to fix it and stop the blame game. Yeah, agreed. We get it. It's been there. It's not going anywhere.
It's turned into a joke. I mean, it's like, oh, why didn't that shipment come? Well, it's always, COVID. It's
COVID,
anything that's gone wrong. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
She's right.
All right, Terry. Well, what do you have coming up here, sir?
Okay, January 22nd, which is soon. Everything you hear about DTG printing on the internet is wrong. I'm going to be presenting that at Impressions Expo, as was mentioned earlier, in Long Beach, California. My next complete screen printing business course at Workhorse Products here in Phoenix is February 19th and 20th. That class is filling up. February 25th. Specialty inks and how to use them properly at the DAX show in Kansas City. Later that day, why is getting started in DTG printing so confusing? Also at the DAX show in Kansas City. My upcoming screen printing class at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago will be March 5th through 6th. And all my upcoming 2022 screen printing classes are on my website, which is terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Check that stuff out over there at terrycombs.com. If I answer the question why is getting started in DTG printing so confusing, does that mean I get a passing grade?
It does.
Okay.
I'll print you a shirt.
Okay, good.
What you need.
One more shirt. I actually shipped shirts to you that I didn't need.
You did. So. Thank you very much. A couple of coffee mugs.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Terry, for me, coming up at 11:30 Central Time in like 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Eric and I will be doing the half, and it's a wide open 30-minute Q&A session. No scripts, no outlines, just answering listeners' questions. It is the one time in Eric and I's life that we are done at 30 minutes, no bonus time like today here. And so you can tune into that at liveosg.com, or you can check it out at facebook.com/our success group pro. While at Facebook or YouTube, which is where liveosg.com takes you, make sure you're also searching for Eric, ERICH, Campbell.com, or not .com, just Eric Campbell. Search for Eric Campbell and make sure that you're subscribing and liking and mashing the like button, whatever the kids say these days, right? Is that how that goes? So yeah, just make sure you're checking that out. Tune in over there in yes, we are now down to 11 minutes. So I'll try to wrap this up. DAX Kansas City, which Terry already mentioned, myself and Eric will be there as well. And so that's February 26th through or 25th through the 26th. And Eric actually is doing a workshop on the 24th, which we'll get to in a moment. And then also DAX Chicagoland. It's the same format, same timing and all that stuff. So I have 2 seminars at both those shows. On Friday, I'm going to be doing a workshop and content creation for the modern world, your front door, your online presence. I think we've actually changed the title of that to make it fit in the space, but I'll verify that here in a second. But it basically what it boils down to, Terry, is we're doing a half-day workshop about content creation, tips to do it, all sorts of, not only like the actual equipment and stuff like that, we're going to have set up there to show you kind of what I've got right in front of me right here. And so we'll show you all that, but we'll also talk to you about creating a story and finding your ideal customers. And so just giving you the whole scope of it. And you're even going to walk out of there with your very own recorded version of an elevator pitch that you can just post right onto your website. And so we're basically helping you upgrade your digital front door and making it more of an open concourse theater that everybody wants to come into. So that's happening. And then on Saturday, I'm teaching 3 pricing strategies to avoid and what to do instead. I won't just leave you with the negatives. I will give you what you should be doing, your pricing strategy. So that's happening at DAX, both at Chicago and Kansas City. Also, just recently announced, still getting all the details together, so I don't have it all here yet, but got a pretty good idea. Myself and my wife, Kylene Montgomery, if you guys haven't met her, you need to, because she's amazing. We are both presenting seminars at a new event, not necessarily a new event for us, called Everything Embroidery Market. And it's happening in Chattanooga, Tennessee on April 28th through April 30th. And we're actually presenting 5 different workshops there. Kylene and I are doing one together. Kylene's doing one on her own, and I've got 3 others. So we'll get more details as we get a little closer to that. But we'd love to meet everybody out there in Chattanooga. So that is happening. And then I mentioned last show we had, that I am emceeing the Start Here Academy that's taking place out in Charlotte at the Graphics Pro on September 16th. So I know that's a little ways out yet here, but start making those plans. Southwest has a really great sale going on right now I don't know if it's to Charlotte, but today is the last day for their $39 deal. So book a trip to Charlotte for September 16th at the Graphics Pro Expo there, the Start Here Academy. So that's what I've got. Eric, it's got some stuff coming up here. Terry, would you mind sharing those details real quick?
Absolutely. You can join Eric on his show at 2:30 Mountain Time. The Take Up today is episode 97. The ABCs of machine embroidery, drills, and directed practice. All about sharpening core skills and how to create your own directed practice and sampling routines. Head over to ericcampbell.com and click on the Take Up tab at the top of the playlist. Eric will be doing multiple sessions at the Impressions Expo in Long Beach. So go to impressionsexpo.com to get registered. And that is just a couple of weeks away. And let's see, he's doing some classes on everything from small run patch workshops small run patches, a workshop on Thursday, to font creation, embroidery editing, and a Q&A panel on Friday and Saturday. And again, that's at impressionsexpo.com. And Eric also has 2 classes at the DAX shows, one for advanced editing and a longer half-day workshop for beginner digitizing to get up to speed with their first design. And go to DAX Show, singular, daxshow.com.
Awesome. Excellent. So check all that out. We can't wait to see you guys back out there. So great to have Eric doing all these classes out there, and so great to have you back out on the road, Terry. I'm glad to see Terry's big book of travel not being so lonely.
I know. Not so much erasing.
Yeah, the eraser marks are gone, and so we get to see the cocktails and airline wing pictures again on Terry's social media. So looking forward to it. All right, Terry. Well, great job today. We've come to the close of another show, starting off 2022 with a bang here. I really appreciate Russ and Jamar for spending some time with us, helping to dispel those myths. So excited to hear everybody's experience out there in Long Beach. If you go to impressionsexpo.com and get signed up for that and be out there in Long Beach. So Terry will give us the full recap after that is done, and Eric will as well. So yeah, Terry, great show today, sir.
Absolutely. You as well. And we want to thank our show producer, Eric Kimball, for keeping the mics on, the wheels turning. And sorry, I committed you, Eric, to all those upcoming things, but those dates are set in stone.
Yes, they are now recorded. They're on the internet. They're never going away. But yes, thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate it. So next week, Terry, like we said, we are booked into March right now with guests. So we got some great stuff coming up here. But next week, we'll be talking to Austin Caldwell, and he's going to be sharing things about like mental health in our industry and just the apparel industry. He's a screen printer and very involved in the industry. I've not had a chance to meet Austin yet, but he comes very highly recommended and sounds like we're going to have a great time, Terry. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Me as well. But until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.